At last, it's time for the true final battle of Final Fantasy II. But before we begin, let's of course check out these stats real quick. Now, on the downside, I did want to go back to town to restock on items, and, correction, this is the dungeon you can't teleport out of. On the bright side, I did get a very good item. I actually got the Rune Axe, which is the best axe in the game. I actually got it off the Chaos Rider, so thank you to Chaos Rider. I really appreciate that axe that I got for murdering you and then checking your dead, mangled corpse. It's going to be very, very helpful. Other than that, as I said before, characters are pretty much as they start. Joseph and Rickard shouldn't really have magic, Scott should have black and white magic, and Minwu should just stick to all the awesome white magic he already has. So with that being said, let's find out who the mastermind behind all this is. Oh, guess what? It's the motherfucking Emperor again. Capitalize it, you jackass. He is... what do you mean, somehow? He looks different, for crying out loud. So yes, Light Half. When he died, his soul split into the Dark Half and his Good Half, which exists, and this is the Good Half that we're standing in front of. And indeed, of course, as you might have guessed, this isn't Pandemonium. It's actually Ruboff, which is basically heaven. So yes, even the good side of the Emperor took over heaven. The good side. The one that's supposed to, oh, I don't know, have some positive traits. You know, something that doesn't involve taking over the afterlife. And I like how casually he says it. Like, he just woke up, walked up here, and then took the seat as the Emperor. I don't know if there's a god here. If there was, he's dead now, because now the Emperor is ruling over heaven. Actually, that's a typo because Scott didn't die defending Kashwan Keep. He was nowhere near that area. He died defending Finn. Well, technically, really, he died not defending Finn, but allowing Hilda and the others to get away. Just thought I'd point that out. Well, I guess the Emperor wasn't a bad guy after all, even if he did take over heaven. No, I also wanted you to pick up some milk. So that's why I'm giving you your very own new car. Sure. Have you been taking an online philosophy course or something? Oh boy, I could live here! The gigantic, weird castle filled with all the gigantic, angry monsters that want me dead. Really? Really, Joseph? Really, Rickard? You're gonna consider it? You guys are such suckers. Oh hey, she finally gets a name, even though she didn't have one in the main game. Wait, how are you guys communicating with me? More importantly, how do you know to communicate with me? Hey, Dante didn't have two Masamunes there. What is this? Lynx is in the back row. I'm betting she doesn't even have an awesome spear with which to smite her enemies. Okay, that definitely seems like something Vance would do, but hey! Max isn't supposed to have axes, and Lynx isn't supposed to have bows. Excuse me, Square Enix, this isn't my canon. I'm pretty sure I had two Masamunes on Dante, spears on Lynx, I had Max fight hand-to-hand, and Vance, well, he's dual-wielding, but he's doing about as well as he would if he were on my team anyway, so I guess that's kind of correct, but really now, Square Enix, do I have to write my own fanfiction on this? I mean, really, why do you guys make this so hard on me? And why did you even bother leveling Ultimo up to level 16? That's not even useful. That's not even good damage! Yeah, by the way, they named the kid Cain just for the sake of having a reference to Final Fantasy IV. That's pretty much it. What do you mean? You sit around in the throne room all day giving us orders. I wouldn't expect you to give up, because if you did, that would be kinda sad. Look, we have all eternity, but that doesn't mean I want you to use it. Even though you briefly considered the offer. Well, to be fair, you didn't really choose to die. Dying was more an unfortunate byproduct of the dumb choices you made in your life. So yes, this is the Emperor of Heaven, or Aruboth, or whatever you want to call it. He's got 10,000 more HP than his original form did. I believe he's got slightly more defense. The rest of his stats are more or less the same. His spells this time around are Holy, Dispel, Flare, Slow, Blaze, and of course Starfall. And of course they're all level 16, as you would expect. So yes, your strategy here should pretty much be the same as it was for the Emperor of Hell. Basically, just put up all your buffs, put up multiple berserks because his defense is very good, so you'll want to stack those. And even though he does have Dispel, just put him up anyway because you're in this for the long haul. You're definitely gonna want to have as many barriers up as possible. And plus, there is a chance that it won't necessarily destroy one of your buffs, and hopefully that happens because it is kind of annoying putting them back on. But regardless, you're definitely going to want some good defense against him, and, of course with Berserk, you're also going to want some good attack power. Now, I also forgot to mention last time his amazing battle theme. This is pretty much the best song, no, not even pretty much, this is the best song in the game, seriously. It's intimidating, but it's also pretty grand and, of course, catchy. It's just a really cool song, it's nice to listen to, and again, it's my favorite song in the game. So yeah, I don't know how I didn't mention that the first time, but hey, at least I corrected it this time. And at least it's actually unique to both versions of the Emperor, because, as I mentioned, the NES version there was only, the regular theme and the boss theme, so at least they gave him his own theme, because, when they just give it to every boss, even if they are more major bosses, then that just makes it a bit less special. And plus, the major bosses in this game got their own awesome battle theme, so it's not like they can complain or anything. Not that they would because they're pixels, but whatever. And just in general, the Emperor is pretty fantastic, and that is the major reason why I like Soul of Rebirth, because it makes the Emperor even more awesome than he was before. He's just so stupidly great. I mean, for crying out loud, here's his plan. Go to hell, make a deal with Satan for millions of monsters with which to take over most of the world. Then he builds an airship, but it's like, oh, I don't really need the airship necessarily. I mean, I guess I could level a few cities with them, but honestly, I don't really care about it that much. I mean, once I'm done poisoning the Wyverns, I'll just summon a cyclone, and that'll do most of the work. But, of course, then again, there are also a bunch of guys that are just going around ruining my plans. I could use that, though. probably want to get the jump on Satan before that deal goes sour for me, so I'll have them come up on the Cyclone, and if I kill them, then I'll just off myself later, but if they kill me, then I'll go back down to Hell, kill Satan, and then become the Master of Hell, and I don't even know if his soul splitting was a part of that plan, but it doesn't matter because it happened. The good part of him, which somehow exists, may I remind you, just came out of nowhere and took over heaven. So yeah, that was his great plan, to die. That is like the dumbest plan ever. Seriously, why would you say, okay, I need to die for this whole thing to work? It doesn't make any logical sense, but the Emperor just pulls it off with such seriousness, and it's just so straight-faced about it that it can't be not awesome. It can't be not, yeah, it can't be not awesome. It is freaking amazing. Because dying is part of his plan, and he just pulls it off so well. He pulls it off perfectly. Like, you'd think that would be a huge variable. Dying, going to Hell, and having to fight the Master of Hell after just getting your ass kicked by a bunch of, I guess, teenagers? Furion and the party are probably teenagers. I mean, it's an RPG, so they're probably like 18, 19. So yeah, and then it all just works out in the end somehow. I don't even know how that even works, other than just the fact that it is the Emperor. And really, I think the best part of it is his whole plan actually just works in general. Like, no offense to guys who just want to destroy the world for the sake of destroying it, but what are they gonna do after they destroy it? Well, the Emperor has an idea. He wants to rule the world, and he would still be able to do that even after killing everyone, because dying and coming back as the ruler of the afterlife was part of his plan after all. So even if he killed everyone on the planet, he'd still rule over all of them. Especially since his good half and evil half split, because that means he has control over both the underworld and heaven. Both of them, at the same time. And if it wasn't for the fact that, you know, there was Furion in the party and now Minwu in the party, he'd just rule over all the dead souls, no problem whatsoever. Really. And plus, you know, it's partially their fault that he died the first place and was able to, you know, progress in his plan, so just in general, it's kind of foolproof, other than the fact that, you know, he kind of has to get killed in the end, but then again, that kind of has to happen at the end of all games. I mean, a lot of people like to complain, oh, well, this villain was successful, or this villain wasn't successful. The Emperor was pretty damn successful, right up until the end, and honestly, that's kind of the best he can really do. I mean, as much as I like the Emperor, I don't exactly want him to win, because that would mean I would play Final Fantasy II for no reason whatsoever. So as glorious as he is, I am kind of glad that I didn't waste my time playing this game, because I'd kind of be angry if it just said, okay, Emperor wins, you all die, fuck you. So, he did accomplish quite a bit, and of course, even though he does die, I mean, most of the planet's population has been diminished, because there's Finn, Salamand, Mysidia, maybe another town or two, but that's it. Everyone else is dead. So, even if he wasn't completely successful, he sure as hell made some sort of progress. He'd accomplished something. So, I can totally appreciate him for that. On the other hand, I can't exactly appreciate the fact that he's poisoned. I mean, really, it's kind of weird that he can get poisoned. I mean, again, it's only doing like 3 or 4 damage, but it's still kind of weird. He can't really get hit by any other status effects as far as I know. And of course, just like the Emperor of Hell, you can't hit him with a blood sword, and it's even more effective here than it was in the previous final battle. But, of course, as I said beforehand, I didn't really want to cheap him out here, because he's the final boss, he's the Emperor, he's great, so I want to give him a fighting chance. But in the end, I still took him down anyway, and I finished him off with Flare. So, stylish finish, I suppose. Kinda wish I had used Ultima, but whatever. Ultima's not even that important anyway. So, one final time, we watch the Emperor disintegrate into nothingness. God, I'll miss him. I mean, Good riddance, scumbag. Oh, who am I kidding? I think the Emperor is great. Even though I'm now dead and will not be killing anyone anymore, you'll still kill each other, so fuck all of you. So, yeah. Not only was the layout reused and mirrored for the final dungeons, but we get essentially the exact same ending as the standard ending. It's not exactly the same, there is a small difference. And that the ghosts of all those who died appear in the middle of the cutscene, not at the end of it. Yeah, that's great, Paul. Just go away. We've already discussed this, Paul. Shove off. Don't like you at all. You're dumb. Just leave. Go fly your dumb kite or whatever you do. Just twirl around. I don't even care about you. Now, while this line is dumb, I believe it's the prototype version of the game, which has just the best translation. The translation goes as follows. You were just the kind of man as I thought. You know, Perettes are great. I don't know why nobody bothered keeping that line. It's so much better than the original version of the line. Seriously, I mean, can you really argue with that? Can you really say that Perettes are not great? I don't think you can. It's just a fact, really, so I don't know why they didn't keep that. Of course, it's the prototype English version, which never actually came out, because this game never came out in the US, so I don't think that translation really saw the light of day, which is unfortunate, because I think it's better. I'm pretty sure it's also the version that gave us such brilliant translations, such as the Emperor being named Empire. But there's one Wyvern left it won't be able to reproduce. Also, where do those guys go? There's no exit up there. There's one on the other side, but that just goes into a dungeon. They just walk into a broom closet or something? Yeah, you can fast forward through this game. I've seen it before. I know that the ghosts are watching this and all, but I don't really care that much. Yes, Leon's a dumbass. Blah, 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 power. Oh, whoops, I can't believe I went through that phase. Well, things are gonna be pretty awkward. Bye. Maria tries to sick Furion on him, but he won't do it because, well, Leon's kind of unpleasant. Probably smells funny, too. I'm just taking that guess. It could just be slander, but I could have just hit the mark, you never know. No, actually, it's the end. Oh, and the ghosts don't appear in front of them anymore. They're just sort of off to the side. You've changed the future. You've created a time paradox, guys. Good job on that. Nah, probably not. They're probably just gonna hammer themselves in the head in an attempt to fix the houses. I'm pretty sure they'll be concussed by tomorrow afternoon. And the souls depart to find rest somewhere that's probably not in Aruboth, because that place kinda sucks. Filled with monsters, gold golems will just punch you in the face, rude as all hell. But they're probably off somewhere better. Probably not in Pandemonium either. Really, the afterlife just kinda sucks in general. You don't really get many options, you just sort of have to go away completely. It's kinda sad, but hey, that's what happens when your afterlives are just final dungeons. They tend to be unpleasant to live in. Wait, a band of young heroes? So they don't even remember Minwu in the party? Wow, that kinda sucks for them. They got the raw deal there. So yes, that is Soul of Rebirth. Again, one of the better final dungeon-y things in the Game Boy Advance remakes. It's still not that great because they reuse so much stuff. But at the same time, it's nice using a new party, and it's nice being able to see the Emperor be even more badass and ridiculous by somehow having his good half take over heaven. I don't even know how that was allowed. That kind of seems like cheating, honestly, but honestly, this is kind of, it's sort of just a little compact version of Final Fantasy II. Story it's decent, you know, the Emperor is fantastic, you gotta grind a bit, then you go through some dungeons, and then you're just fine, so it's just more of the same, more or less. Although one thing that is kinda nice is, although I'm guessing not everyone likes this, they did kind of have longer dialogue sequences. They definitely were a little more talkative, which, again, pretty sure some people would probably dislike that, but honestly, the briefness of the main game is kind of what I dislike. I wish they lingered a bit, well, not really linger, that's kind of a negative sort of word to use, but you know, I just wish they focused a bit more and gave the game itself a bit more dialogue, because I think that would make it a bit more interesting. I think this game has the potential to be interesting, but unfortunately they didn't actually update the main game script all that much. They just put it all in this game, which, while the dialogue sequences are longer, it doesn't really amount to much, because it's pretty much, oh hey, who are you? Oh, you're that guy. Oh, you also died? Me too. Let's go on an adventure, just over and over again. Then you get to the town, it's like, okay, where do we go? Alright, a bunch of people died, now we have to figure out who's behind all this. Oh, the Emperor was behind all this, let's talk to him for a bit. Okay, we're not gonna forgive you, so let's fight, and that's pretty much it, so... Well, I do appreciate the fact that they're less brief, kinda too little too late overall, because... Really, in this case, I think it's more just a bit of padding, but... I just kind of wish they give that treatment to the rest of the script. It would have been nice if they had. Yeah, that's just about it. Not much else to say about Soul of Rebirth, because it's just the final dungeons a second time with a different party. And with slightly less magic, and I guess you're not really as flexible with what you can do with the characters unless you want to spend a lot more time than you really need to adjusting them to your liking. I mean, it's an option. It's not one you should really take, but it's there. But I guess that's it for Soul of Rebirth. If I go any farther, I'll just repeat myself about how we were going through the final dungeons a second time. So that's been Final Fantasy II. I've been Fefner Masamune. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time for whatever I do next. And I still gotta get a better outro.